Okay, I believe we are recording. So what's up? It's me, it's Caesar. Some people know me as DJ Fiesta. That's my stage name. But here we are. We're here on MyDMX 3.0 on the MacBook Pro. This is my setup. It's called FDJS. It's the abbreviation for my company. And so here we are. This is basically my setup, and we're gonna go down everything. But first, we're gonna talk about my APC Mini. So let's get to that real quick. Okay, so for some reason, my APC never wants to connect to my MacBook. That's why I use a Windows laptop when I'm doing the lights. So I'm not gonna be showing the layout on the computer while I show you the layout here, but we will get to the layout on the computer too. So starting off with the very top right here, I have my basic colors, and so the way that I have it is red, blue, green, purple, yellow, cyan, pink, orange, and white. So white is a color too, but I have it on the third one. So why? Let me get to that. The next row is the exact same set of colors, but in strobe. So it's red strobe, blue strobe, green, purple, and so on and so forth. There wasn't enough room for white, so I just went to the next one after. So I have white right here, I have a white strobe right here, and then I have my strobe all. So this one just turns on strobe for all the lights. And then I have various other strobe options that I've made also. So the reason why I have it like this is because basically by doing this I can control my entire setup, having it I guess separately at the same time. So with the push of one button I can turn everything red or blue or green or whatever color I want just by pushing one button. But at the same time, on the computer, I can do other things that this doesn't allow me to do. So it works both ways. So going on to my next row, being the fourth row, right here, I have my gobos for my spot moving heads. So my moving heads, they have 8 gobos. So it goes all the way right here, and this one just stays blank. So from here to here, just all my gobos. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that for this layer, for this section to work, you have to have your computers, you have to have your moving heads selected on MyDMX, or else it's not going to work. If you have a wash slide selected and you want to change the gobo on your moving head, you're not going to get it to work because you have to have the moving heads selected on the computer. So then the next row, the next 2 rows, I have my color combinations, and I'll show you that on the screen a bit once we get to that part. We have our color combinations, and I have 2 rows of it because there's a bunch. Then the second to last row is my moving head movements. So these are a bunch of random movements that I have programmed onto my moving heads, and they're all on this row. And then on the very bottom, I have my light shows that I also have, and we'll get to that in a bit. These are also light shows that I have either made myself or have generated with the MyDMX, and any other things. This row right here is just a bunch of like things that I can do with the strobe also with the wash lights that I have. So that's what I do with these. So I can make it so that the right side of the lights turns on and then the left side, or vice versa. You can do a bunch of things with these buttons. That's what I do with these. I don't really have that much of a use for them. This is the reset button right here. This is my reset button. This is my master dimmer. So this basically always stays up. Right here is my section, basically the live section on the MyDMX. So this is my blackout, my pause, my basically everything that I have there. So I have it on here too. The reset, like I said. And then this side, this controls my moving heads. So here I have pan, tilt, the dimmer, the focus, and then these three are just empty. But the thing is about these is that I'm getting more moving heads, so I basically have another section of 4 for another set of lights. So that's pretty cool too. And so that's what I'm planning on doing with these 4. So my first set of lights right here, my second set, my master dimmer, and that's it. So that's how I have my stuff set up. We're here on MyDMX. So now we're here. We have my live page pulled up. So let me just give you a little rundown of how we have the basics set up. I usually always keep it with my moving head selected because these are usually the ones that I mess with the most. I don't really use my wash slides or my haze machine or my starburst or my gig bar that much when I'm at gigs, because I really don't need to, because I have all of these shows programmed to do it for me. The ones that I'm usually more worried about are the moving heads. So my first section of scenes controls my wash lights only. So if you remember, you can go back also in the video. I mentioned that the top row of my APC Mini controls all my lights. Why is that? It's because I have this row and this row programmed to the APC Mini. So basically, whenever I click the first, or whenever I turn on the first scene, these two turn on. And what that does is it turns on absolutely all of my lights. So let me explain that better. This section controls this section of lights. This section controls this section of lights. So I can click right here, only these turn on. I can click right here, only these turn on. And this one turns on because this is my starburst, and this is, I basically consider this a wash light too. So anything that is considered a wash light turns on with these. So in this case being my wash lights, my starburst, and my my gig bar. So the gig bar on MyDMX is kind of wonky. You can't really see when it turns on, but it's on. So those turn on. And for these, this is my moving heads, my spots. Only the spots turn on. And so what I did was, the color wheel on these spots that I have, let me show you the color wheel. So the color wheel is basically this setup. So we have red, red, blue, blue, green, green, cyan, cyan, purple, purple, yellow, yellow, blue we said already, pink, pink, and orange, orange, and then white. So exactly what I have on my color wheel is what I have set up here. And so since I have these in my color wheel, that's what I recreated on my wash lights. So I wanted to make my wash lights be exactly what my moving heads do, because basically now I can have everything be the same. Actually, let me go to general. So I can have my moving heads and my wash lights be the same. And typically whenever I'm messing with my APC Mini, when I press a light show, it's going to do this. So together. It's taking longer for me because I'm clicking them individually, but when you're using the controller, the APC Mini, both of them will turn on at the same time. But the cool thing about this is that you can basically make your own color combinations right here. So you can do red and blue, you can do orange and pink, you can do a bunch of cool stuff alone right here just with these two. So going on, now you have the strobe, and it's exactly the same thing. Red, blue, green, purple, yellow, cyan, pink, orange, and white. So it's the exact same thing. You got that. Blue, green is the exact same, just strobing. We have white strobe, and then this is the one that I was talking about earlier, which is strobe all. So what this does is that if I have a light show, so let's say we have this one, we have the rainbow. If I turn this one on, it strobes all of my lights. Same thing with this one. This is a strobe also, but it is more of a random strobe. So I was more for like build-ups on like EDM and all of that stuff. So that's what I like to use it for. And this one is another one that I like to use. So it either strobes my wash lights or my moving heads. So I can do like, oh, up and then down and then up and then down. So that's cool. That's another thing that you can do with this too. So you can either choose the wash lights, and notice how these aren't strobing, but once I switch it, now these are strobing, but these aren't. So that's cool too. Next we have the color combinations, and these are the basic color combinations that I have. White and red, white and green, white and yellow, white and purple, white and blue, blue and yellow, blue and cyan, blue and red, red and purple, green and purple, green and yellow, pink and cyan. This one's called fire, but it is more of a yellow, red, and orange color combination. And then this is my slow dance. I have my wash lights in blue, my moving heads in purple, and that looks awesome. I recommend that. If you're trying to get some ideas on what to do for your light show, I definitely recommend this. This is awesome. Up next, we have the colors, the light shows that I have. So I showed you the first one. We have rainbow. Then we have Mexico. And so this basically has the wash lights simulating the Mexican flag. And if you can see, the moving heads are just doing a bunch of different gobos. They're doing prism effects. They're doing a bunch of things. So that's really cool too. For whenever you're playing like cumbias and stuff, this is perfect. Next we have colors. And what's cool about this is that you can assign one of the faders on the APC Mini. You can assign it to control this. And so this is the speed control. So as I turn it up, you can see this is going faster. And as I turn it down, it goes slower. So you can program the APC Mini, you can program the faders to control that. And you can control the speed of the light shows. Next we have police, and it's basically a random strobe but with red and blue, and then the moving heads are in white. So that's pretty cool. And then we have color sweep. So this is what I did also with the color wheel. So let me pause this right now. So we have red, orange, green, cyan, purple, and yellow. So if you notice, this order of colors is exactly this order right here. So the reason why I did that is basically that the color wheel is just turning and the wash lights are simulating that exact same thing, and they're all going at the same time, and it does that color sweep effect. So look, they're all going that way. It's kind of like a rainbow effect, but it's just like a solid color. And it's cool because you're basically using the color wheel on your moving heads. These two don't turn on because there's only 6 wash lights, so it wouldn't make sense to have these on too. So only 6 of them turn on for this show. This one isn't important, so we're going to skip that one. This is my movements for my moving heads. So I'm going to click one of them. I'm only going to click one of them, and then you can see what they are doing. So we have random. Then we have slow. Up and down. So in this one, it only goes up and down. The pan and tilt. And this is another random show that I have. Back and forth is the same thing as up and down, but now it's the pan going back and forth. Pose, this one is this is the scene that I use for like the dinner, for the walkout, like anything that has to do with like the ceremony. I have this one because I program each individual light. I program them all to point at different directions onto the dance floor. And it just stays on. They're not moving. They're just pointing, and they have a gobo. They're turning, you know. So this is what I like to do with my moving heads for like the hour of like the dinner hour and anything else that has to do with that. That's what I like to do. And this is just another scene that I also have for the lights. And what's cool about this is that basically you can do this. You can turn on red. So you can turn on your wash lights red, your moving heads yellow, or any color. And then you can go turn on this, and now your moving heads are moving along with the color. So you have 3 different scenes on, and they're all working together. And notice how nothing is interfering with another. So you got the moving heads moving, you got your moving heads on blue, and your wash lights on red. And then you can do this. You can strobe them. You can do a random strobe. And notice how they don't change color, they don't do anything. You can do the wash strobe, you can do the head strobe, you can do anything you want, and you're fine. So we're going to keep this on for now. That way you can see the rest of the stuff. So this is that bottom layer of buttons that I was talking about. So you have flash. And as long as I hold the button on the APC, it stays on. So if you see, as long as I hold it, it stays on. So this is more of a, or actually I need to turn this on. So the blinder, let me turn this off so that you can see. I basically recreated the blinder effect. So what this does is, so it turns on slowly, it's kind of like a yellowish white, and then it turns off just like that, just like a blinder. So going back to this, we have left, so left side turns white, right, right side turns white. Then we have this pattern, boom, so you can just go in between both of them. So that's cool too. Next section is wash off or part off and head off. So exactly what the show says it does. It turns either one of them off. So if I want to turn off my wash lights, boom, they're off. If I want to turn off my heads, boom, they're off. Now I do know that I can just do that, or I can do that, but it makes it way easier to just have your dedicated buttons that turn them off, because then you can just do that. And then once you're ready, just boom, you're back on. So that's pretty cool. I like doing that also. I usually use this when it's like EDM and all that type of music. And so the rest of this is just random scenes that I keep on during the night. So I have some CO2 jets that they only turn on as long as I press it. So I can press it. See? So as long as I press it, it'll turn on. My haze machine, my heater, and my focus, those are all always on. The focus, what this does is I basically go into, before the actual event, I will go to edit, I will go to focus, and I will individually focus every light. So that the beams look nice and sharp. So this is what I do before every night. Focus all the lights, make sure they all look good. And then once I'm done, I just go over here, keep it on, and now my lights are focused for the entire night. And I don't have to worry about anything. So that's another very cool trick. And then this stays on. This usually stays on. So those I don't even worry about. I only worry about this. And that's pretty much all I have. So it's nice and simple, but it's also very, very effective, very powerful. It's, personally, I really like it. I wouldn't want it any other way. So this is the way that I have it. Hopefully you got some ideas out of this. Hopefully you found this semi-entertaining. So thank you for watching.